Had a lot of material from what happened on Capitol Hill, which was absolutely awful and should never have happened. But did you see this? Take this full. See these folks just walking right by the cops who, for whatever reason, weren't stopping anybody. Can't really figure this one out. And there they go, right into the rotunda. What kind of instructions did they have? Forget about why they didn't plan better, why there wasn't a stronger perimeter, but just letting them walk on through. I don't understand. Investigations, of course, and people have already been fired or about to be fired, that kind of thing. But what a catastrophic failure. And our president was not responsible. Listen to that speech that he gave to his supporters. Talked about marching peacefully. I'd like to bring in Bruce LeVell, Executive Director of the National Diversity Coalition for Trump. Bruce, welcome back to Newsmax. How are you?
Good evening. Happy New Year, Greg. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Happy New Year to you. It's real. He'll be out of office on January 20th.
Yeah.
What's going through your mind right now? And then we'll talk about the crazy impeachment stuff that Nancy Pelosi is talking about. But where are you right now?
Well, I'm here in Atlanta, and I'm a little disheartened about how this whole election played out. But there's one good thing that I know that I'm happy about, that I know about the president, is his enthusiasm and his willingness to fight all the way to the end. And I'm very grateful for that. I'm grateful for the 4 years of being involved and engaged from 2015, Greg, from the escalators. I've been with the president, and I still wholeheartedly support him. There's 75 million more folks just like me. I just fortunate enough to be on the Greg Kelly show to articulate that. But, I know his spirits are up. I was on the phone with him last week with Rudy, and he was in dynamic spirits. It was just amazing to know what he was up against. It was almost like it was a normal day, for him, on his enthusiasm. And I know he spoke with Pastor Darrell. I saw him tweet that. I was actually trying to reach out to him and see what was going on. But if I had to be on that call, I would assure you that his spirits are extremely high, disappointed based on how the election was robbed. And let me tell you something, Greg, about the president. One thing that people would need to understand is that, you're talking about a person that's been out there for 45 years that have had some great successes in terms of real estate and business. And he had some ups and he had some downs, financials up, financial down. And just like a lot of us, and to the point where he almost lost everything. And then you see how successful he was to gain that.
Yeah.
He knows in his heart, if he felt in his heart that he legally lost the election, he would say, okay, I lost, because he understands what losses and gains are, Greg, and to all the audience. So with this particular election, he knows in his heart that he didn't lose the election. And so we're 75 million of us out here felt the same way with all the election fraud on all the battleground states. So the enthusiasm is still there. I can assure you with that. But he also knows that, quote, that he did not lose this election. So, and he has every right to challenge it to the end, like any other, quote, candidate, as well as the president of the United States.
So I agree with you. He did not lose the election. He didn't. They cheated, and they managed to cheat successfully. And here's what really disturbs me, disappoints me, even scares me a little bit, that now that they've cheated and he will be president, Joe Biden, they're trying to exploit the victory to the maximum. Trying to delegitimize, get Donald Trump impeached on the way out the door, and blame him for the carnage that happened on Capitol Hill. These are not the actions that Joe Biden promised, that he would unify the country. He said he talked to his senator friends who told him, oh, we're disgusted by Trump. But we're not. And those people represent us. And I'm sorry, Bruce, I know we're on the same side here, but that to me was so telling that Joe Biden is already breaking his promises. I don't think he had any intention of keeping him. He just he lies like people breathe.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Greg, the optimism for me, once again, is that the President Trump coming down the escalators in 2015 was an American movement. A living, breathing American revolution is what we're experiencing right now, Greg. This is essentially what we're going through. And it doesn't surprise me where we saw a lot of our, quote, so-called allies, elected officials in the Republican Party, start caving and resigning. And I call it pandering to the Democrats, trying to say, well, because of this, I'm leaving, et cetera. But I'll tell you this, that shows you right there that they were never really in this to serve the people. They were looking for the country to serve them.
Yeah.
Because this, sir, is a living, breathing American revolution going on.
Well,
because, Greg, this great president promised, and this is what we're dealing with right now. Watch this, Greg. He promised that he would never take pay to play, and he kept that promise. And you see, most of our elected officials, unfortunately, Greg, are compromised. And that's what we're on both sides of the aisle. And he's interrupting these decades and decades of pay to play. This is the system that we're fighting. He's trying to give it back to the common man and woman, which he did in his tenure here in 4 years as president, which he promised, which he did, Greg.
Yeah.
So this essentially is what he's fighting to the end.
Well, listen, I agree with everything you said, except for the part about the American Revolution, because that implied, breaking away from another country. And look, we still have the Constitution. We still have a country. We still, and our side supports that. And everything that happened on Capitol Hill, apart from the violence, which was horrible, that was all within the Constitution. It could have gone further, by the way, according to the Constitution. But as you mentioned, a lot of folks did let him down. I'm happy that you stayed with him all the way through, and who knows what the future holds. We appreciate it. What's that?
Ride or die, Greg.
One more time?
Ride or die, brother. We're here.
What does that mean? Who coined that? Ride or die? I don't know what that. What does that mean?
Hey, that's what I say to my wife. We've been happily married 29 years, so that's a figure of speech, meaning we're in it, no, but for the better, for the worse, the good, the bad, whatever. We're here. We're going to work this out no matter what happens. That's exactly what that means.
Okay, I can go with that. Thank you very much. Appreciate it, Bruce LeVell, Executive Director of the National Diversity Coalition for Trump. Thank you, sir. And we will be
thanks for having me, Greg.
You bet.